This is a proud production of ITM Media. Good day, everyone out there rambling about Racin Nation. It's finally happening. It's been a long time coming, I think, since a year and maybe 3 months. Look who's in the studio. Oh, Preston Lood. There's the camera right there, buddy. There it is. You remember what's up, man. What's going on, buddy? How's life?
Life is fine. Life is good.
Good.
It's good.
It's good, man. This was kind of an audible here because you were supposed to be remote.
Yes.
And unfortunately, we had some technical issues. I said,
darn that technology.
And then I said, I was just joking.
Yeah, you said, hey, man, well, how about we just come over in studio? And I said, you didn't have to ask me twice. Okay.
Yeah, and you just came right over
Yeah,
Indy Car. Now, unfortunately, we are changing out the roof here in the old household. Yeah. And now I did warn you. Now you're scared about nails.
Well, first of all, when I pulled up, I went to call you and you knocked on the window and you scared the crap out of me there.
I did.
And then you said, oh, hey, yeah, by the way, they're redoing the roof, so there's probably nails everywhere. And I was like, what?
And there, in fact, were
nails
everywhere.
So hopefully on the drive home, I don't hear the, do. Oh, that would be
well, just give me a call. We'll do a pit stop. We'll do a pit stop on the road.
Sure, we can do that. Why not?
It'll be fun. I got a cordless impact. It'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah, it'd be kind of Xfinity pit stop because I have 5 lug nuts.
It'll be Xfinity pit stop. Exactly. It'll be great. Unfortunately, Charlie Hercus and Austin Reeves going to join us today because they're getting ready for their upcoming race this weekend, the opening race from South Alabama Speedway.
Wow.
The Rattler weekend, the big late model race coming up here. So unfortunately, Charlie and Austin cannot be joining us tonight here at the ITM or remotely from Alabama. But however, the OG crew is here. Charlie and Austin aren't, but Preston Lood, Matt Beamer, OG, rambling about racing, or above your head to the left there, buddy, in the marbles.
Yes, in the marbles.
Not in the marbles anymore.
The OG.
The OG crew. I remember doing this weekly during COVID and everything like that. And even during the off season, what are we going to talk about?
Yeah.
And it was just months of it was a struggle. And then racing season happened and it was easy.
Yeah, of course.
And then all of a sudden you said, I'm not joining you anymore.
I feel like you need to play like a sad song right now.
I don't know where the sad violin is, but it's okay. It's okay. I'm glad you're here, man. I hope everyone's doing well out there, whether you're on your regular podcast platform or YouTube. Now that we're kicking it on YouTube here, it's episode 164.
Really?
Episode 164 of Ramblin' About Racing. I've been to every single one of them. How about you, buddy?
I can't say the same.
And I'm just busting your chops there, man. I know you have a life outside of here, and just hoping Charlie and Austin there in South Alabama has a good run to make it worth their while, so we can talk to them. Maybe they'll win.
Maybe.
Hopefully. But I'm glad everyone's doing well. I'm glad you're doing well. Hope everyone out there is doing well. I'm used to saying hope everyone is doing well, saying, with Charlie and Austin here. It's a vicious cycle.
It is, but hey, here I am.
Here's Preston.
Here I am.
Here's Preston. Out of everybody, here's Preston.
Don't worry, everybody at home can sleep easy tonight. Or whenever you listen to this podcast. If you're sleeping during the day, hopefully it's not while you're driving or anything like that either. So
yeah, don't sleep during.
Don't sleep and drive.
Yeah, don't sleep and drive.
This has been a public service announcement.
That's right. Your one and only public service announcement.
That's right.
I'm not good at giving PSAs. Sorry. What's a PSR?
I don't know.
I don't know what a PSR is. It's going to be one of those nights. I have a feeling it's going to be one of those nights. So if you're joining us on YouTube, watching us, have fun, leave a like and comment. If you're even listening to us on your regular podcast platform, rate us.
Sure.
That would help.
Give us a 5-star review.
Yeah, give us a 5-star. Come on.
We're not on Yelp yet, but
we're not going to be on Yelp. I feel
No.
I don't ever think we'll ever be on Yelp. But that was it. You ready to get into this week's race recaps and hey, man?
Absolutely.
All right, let's get into it. Folks, before we continue on with the start of Season 5 of Ramblin' About Racing, I wanted to remind everyone out there about our online stores at Teespring and Bonfire, where you can find the latest and greatest Ramblin' About Racing gear, such as t-shirts like the one I have on, hoodies, hats, or anyone but lineup exclusively at Bonfire, and so much more. Pint glasses for your beers and everything like that. Just head over to ramblinaboutracing.com under the stores tab, and there you can find the links to both Teespring and Bonfire. Every purchase will help out Ramblin' About Racing, bring you better content and hopefully more content at tracks around the country later on as we get there. So head on over to ramblinaboutracing.com. Links can also be found in the YouTube video below or on your podcast description on your regular podcast platform below. Again, all proceeds help out Ramblin' About Racing, bring you better content in the future.
Hey, man. Hey, man.
And hey, man, always here at Ramblin' About Racing, presented by Devos Outdoor Lighting. Head over to devosoutdoor.com. Use discount code RAMBLIN at checkout for 10% off of your order. Those links can also be found on your YouTube description, your regular podcast description, or if you head over to ramblinaboutracing.com under the sponsors tab there, you can find the links to Devos Outdoor as well. We have a lot to talk about this week, Preston.
Yes, we do.
Not only do we have Atlanta wrapping up, or Atlanta getting ready to start, Phoenix wrapping up, a lot of changes happened over the course of last year to this year, which then we saw on track at Phoenix this past weekend. Now, first things first, I'm going to say it right now. How's the race weekend overall for you?
It was okay. Xfinity race was fairly well, I thought, at least. Now, if you look at the Cup Series side, I would probably say lackluster. But I mean, the new rules package, whatever you want to call it, aero package, I think we just have to give it time. That's all.
I have my 2 cents to say about that, but that's after I tell you what I thought about the races overall. The races overall were horrible. Unless you were there at Phoenix, I'm sure.
You didn't like the Xfinity race?
I didn't like any race. I don't like Phoenix.
Well, okay, that's fair enough. I'm not a big fan of Phoenix that much anymore either. Let's be honest. I mean, hey, look, we switched the way the track is a little bit. Now everyone can run through the dog leg. Woohoo!
Yeah, that's straight up dumb, if you ask me. Unless you were there, I feel like the Phoenix race was like a Formula One race. Great starts and restarts. Lackluster racing overall, to me.
Yeah, it's fair enough to say that, honestly.
I mean, the pit strategies made it fun. Pit stops made it fun. And of course, we saw a caution come out with less than 10 to go.
Yeah.
With Kyle Larson once again in the lead, just dominating. And then just this happened, and William Byron snuck in. And
well, Harvick was in the lead.
Harvick was in the lead. Well, I don't know why I said Larson.
Larson was in the lead. Harvick, I think, took it.
Larson took, you're right. Larson,
probably like 20 or 30 to go, I think. Yeah. I think it was about 30 to go. Larson made a mistake, I think it was.
Either way.
However you skin the cat.
Either way, it was like a repeat of Las Vegas.
Well, it's just, you know how it is in the commentary booth. Larry McReynolds has got to come in and give his the breakdown, the stats of all these cautions, and then all of a sudden we just somehow get a caution, whether you think it's a phantom caution or not. It just happens.
Yeah, a car always seems to hit the wall. Yeah. Something always happens. Debris happens there. I don't know why that happens all the time. It's just one of those things.
Just weird.
It is weird. I don't like it. But to me, it was overall just a boring, lackluster race week in there for both Xfinity and Cup. But then back to your point, the rules change. Now, I got right here what actually changed as far as the rules.
Okay.
And I want to read this to you and everybody out there listening and watching. The adjustments came from test at Phoenix Raceway in late January and confirmed February 13th in a wind tunnel test. I take it that's earlier this year. It includes a 2-inch spoiler, which is a reduction of 2 inches from their current 4-inch spoiler that the Gen 7 car has, and the removal of 3 diffuser streaks.
Strakes. I think it's strakes.
Sorry.
Rakes, strakes. I don't know.
And engine panel strakes. The changes are expected to lead to a 30% reduction in downforce. Eric Jacuzzi, I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it, right?
Oh, I don't know. How does it spelled?
Jacuzzi.
I would say that.
Yeah,
Jacuzzi.
Jacuzzi, who is the vice president of vehicle performance, said Tuesday, which I'm taking it as last Tuesday before the Phoenix races on Sirius XM radio, that the diffuser strakes are pieces that hang from the center of the diffuser underneath the car, which I'm taking as the rear of the car.
Right.
He said NASCAR will be removing 3 of the 5 diffuser strakes, and the engine panel strakes are metal pieces that sweep outward behind the front tire to make more downforce. These changes were made because of the NASCAR Cup Series drivers complaining that it was too difficult to pass on short tracks and road courses last season. The adjustments will take place at this rule package is not just Phoenix, but it will be at the following tracks: Charlotte Roval, Chicago Street Course, Circuit of the Americas, Indy Road Course, Martinsville, New Hampshire, North Wilkesboro, Richmond, Sonoma, and Watkins Glen. And all these tracks will also have the wet weather package, such as the windshield wipers and the use of rain tires if the conditions meet. Your thoughts on that?
I mean, it. I don't know. I mean, I see NASCAR's trying to, and they are listening. I guess they're listening to drivers who want more passing, I guess you could say. But I listened to Denny Hamlin's podcast, Actions Detrimental.
Is that any good?
Yes.
I mean, not that we want to promote another podcast on our show. I mean, we do, but another major competitor like Dirty Mo Media.
Yeah, today was the first day that I actually gave it a listen, because he had some stuff to say about him and Ross Chastain, that what happened in Phoenix. But he also touched on about how he felt about the car and the package itself. And I think he said something about, how NASCAR was listening to the drivers, how they want to make passes. But he says you have to give this rules package a little bit of time, because it's not going to happen right away. What drivers want, what the fans, probably ultimately what the fans really want, is probably not going to happen right away. But if you want to go and listen to it, I think it's about the 22-minute mark. Then he goes into this whole thing about the car itself. And he gives you examples as to what he gives you examples as to why he thinks drivers aren't able to make passes. And it comes down to how wide the car is. And excuse me. And it's not just that. He also blames the track itself, like Phoenix. Says that there's leftover PJ1 all over the track, that he's like, they need to get in there and just pressure wash the whole track, because he thinks that was one thing. But what it was is that it's all it comes down to is the car that's in front, that's got the air, is taking all the air away from the guy behind him. So he says, even though all the cars are technically equal, you can't make passes because there's no air for the car behind to even get close enough to make the pass. So I think it's one of those things. It's just NASCAR has to keep working on it, tuning it up. But I think like he says, I think it could be the track as well. Maybe we might get a different outcome at another, a road course, or whenever we go to another short track, obviously, which I don't know when the next one, I don't know what the next track
I think
would
the
be.
next one is Martinsville.
Yeah, that does sound about right. I'm not off the top of my head. I'm not looking at the schedule right away, but I would assume Martinsville is probably the one.
Here's my thing about this whole rule change package. I'm okay with the rain package at road courses and short tracks. Give it a shot. If it works, great. If it doesn't, you can move on. But doing this, I feel it worries me, because NASCAR is going down the road that they went down in the Gen 7 car. It's a rabbit hole of trying to find And I have a feeling they're going to go back to a high horsepower, low downforce package and a low horsepower, high downforce package and try to find that. We tried to get away from that with the Gen 7 car, did we not?
Mm-hmm.
The NASCAR. So them reducing the spoiler, saying that, and Denny Hamlin and complaining that the car's not creating enough gap in the air, is reducing the spoiler, reducing the gap in the air at that point? I believe it is. You want a tall spoiler on there. I don't know what the secret sauce is, but the Gen 7 car was supposed to alleviate and eliminate any need for changes like that, right?
Well, I think, sorry, I think what he, and I kind of agree with this, and I never even thought about it. Like I
And
said,
this is Denny Hamlin.
yeah, like I alluded to, and it never even crossed my mind. He said the bodies of the cars are too square. He said if it was more rounded, then maybe we would have a better chance of air getting to the car behind and then them maybe actually being able to make a pass. And I kind of get it. If you look at it, like, for example, the rear bumper, do you see how square that thing is? There's no air coming around the car.
So would it be safe to say, instead of NASCAR having these guys fit in a box with stock parts and fitting this little laser template thing, how about going back to regular templates? If you fit the template,
right? I think you're right.
You fix the problem, because right now they're hunting for this perfect package, and they're going to end up confusing fans,
Yeah.
and confusing teams.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Why not just have a template?
I don't know, and I don't want to misquote what he was saying because I only got to listen to it one time. But I mean, he just alluded on the fact that, he even broke it down to, like, with the engines and everything. NASCAR wants to make all these cars pretty much equal, and that's cool that you make it equal on an equal playing field. But when you have cars like 1 through 20 that are almost all within like 0.2 of a second of each other, that's cool. But if you can't pass, where's the fun in that?
And Hamlin brings up not only a driver's perspective, but a team owner's perspective.
Exactly.
So he sees both sides of the coin at this point. He wants 2311 to run well naturally, and he wants to run well with Joe Gibbs in that 11 car. He wants both. He wants his cake and to eat it too,
right?
In a sense. And at this point, them switching up rule packages in order to fix what should have been fixed with the Gen 7 car as a period. We're going back to high horsepower, low downforce, low horsepower, high downforce package scenario. I see it coming to where it's going to be, we're going to get with Bob Pockrass on. We're going to get with Bob Pockrass on one of the things and be like, what package are they running? They're going to be running this package with this horsepower and this and that and this and that. And it doesn't matter what they do, fans won't be happy and teams aren't going to be happy with whatever.
Denny Hamlin also brought up a good point that, to an extent, he thinks NASCAR should like keep it a secret until like the days leading up to a race, what kind of package. But
why?
To make them have to think on the fly or something, to make it more interesting.
To make who think on the fly?
The drivers, the teams.
Why?
If you want to make it interesting. NASCAR's doing this thing where they think that they're going to make it fun and interesting at some point, but they can't figure it out.
They can't figure it out because they keep fiddling with it to the point where it's confusing the teams and confusing the fans.
Well, they keep fiddling with it, but they're going to, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people are going to complain, which I can't, somebody put out a poll on Twitter asking if, I think it was Jeff Gluck. I think Jeff Gluck's the one that does the polls after.
Yeah, he does all the polls.
I think it was almost even. I think there was like 40-some% that said it was a good race and 50-some% said it wasn't a good race. But, NASCAR's just going to do that thing where they're going to listen to the fans right away and just think, oh my God, that was, it backfired on us, instead of giving it another go at some point. But I mean, you're right. We're changing all these things up, and good on NASCAR for listening to the fans and listening to drivers. But man, it just seems like we just keep changing things up all the time.
If we want to go all nostalgic here with NASCAR and make it like it was in the 80s and in the 90s and in the early 2000s, like a lot of fans want, and I wouldn't mind going back there, but I don't think we're ever going to get back there because NASCAR does listen to the fans.
Mm-hmm.
NASCAR does listen to the driver. NASCAR does listen to the sponsors. If Jim France and I think Brian Kennedy, whoever, whatever his first name is, I've gotten to the point where it's almost like I don't care because I
It
know
doesn't matter anymore.
we're on the Titanic here. If they want to go back to what it was before and them printing money and them doing everything they can do in order to make the sport great and fill the stands, not only for the race, but for qualifying and practice and the Xfinity race and the truck race and fill the stands, have one guy call the shots.
Yeah.
If you don't like the package, go down to the Xfinity series and give someone else your ride. If the sponsor doesn't like anything in the sport, you don't have to be in the sport. We got 40 more people waiting to get on here. If you don't like what we're doing for you as a team owner, you don't have to own a team in NASCAR. Why not go back to that whole system where one person makes a decision and everybody else gets in line and says, okay, or they say, we don't want anything to do with this and make room for someone else.
That's a good point.
Why can't we do that?
It's just, I don't know. It's just a lot of money involved in this sport. A lot of money does the talking, and
yeah, money does the talking, but who's running the mouth of the puppet? Is it the sponsors coming in? Is it the team owners? Is it the drivers?
I would love to know. I mean, as a fan, I don't like, for the most part, I don't really like the way the current product is half the time.
Because I've made several suggestions, and guess what? Not one of them is taken. So they're not listening to me. Are they listening to you?
They don't want to listen to me.
No, they don't.
They look at me, probably. I'm sure I'm sure they don't know me, but if they did know me, they'd probably be like, oh, that guy would never call the shots.
Yeah, what, rambling about racing? Oh, no. No.
Yeah.
You guys,
that guy Preston? No, he would never call the shots.
Yeah, you guys are making too much sense.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how I feel sometimes.
Right.
They'd be looking at me and be like, nah, he can't cut it. Well, why don't you think he can cut it? Because he's got too many good ideas. We can't go back down that road. That's how I look at it.
We don't want to be successful. We don't want to rival Formula One where their stands are full all the time.
Right.
For practices, for qualifying.
And it's funny that a lot of people say that Formula One is boring, yet Formula One tends to have a lot of people that watch it. Now in the United States, I don't really know. But I mean,
Circuit of America,
on a global standpoint, Circuit of America's last year. How many people showed up for that weekend? 400,000 for the weekend.
How many showed up for NASCAR? I want to know.
Probably not that number.
Probably Miami for the inaugural Miami Grand Prix.
Exactly.
I wanted to take everybody, you, me, Austin, and Charlie, to Las Vegas for that race and say, guys, thank you. Here you go. Just the tickets for the nice grandstand section were $2,000 a piece.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But people pay for it because F1 is an expensive sport.
It's an expensive sport, but it puts butts in the seat because you do have the drama, and they change the cars once and they don't go, oh, it wasn't good at Bahrain, so we're going to switch it around because, Lewis Hamilton complained we can't pass. Who cares? Get a better car.
Then that's when the teams go to work.
Yep.
Figure it out.
That's the way it was back in NASCAR, but no, everybody's got to be equal.
I
don't like that.
I will never. I don't think I can ever buy into NASCAR trying to tell me that the field is equal, because
it's not.
Ever since they actually came out and really said, hey, the field is equal. Do I see the field being equal? Not unless it's a super speedway.
Do I see BJ McLeod running in the top 15, top 10?
Heck no.
No, he's always going a lap down within 2 laps.
Yeah, exactly.
So don't give me that it's equal crap.
Yeah.
Because like Denny Hamlin said, the top 20 are equal. They're 21 through 30, whatever are.
I think to make it a little bit more equal, I wish that they would bring practice back. That's what practice is for. And now I have heard people say, oh, that's what the sim is for now these days, is that's your practice. I mean, that's cool and all, but I don't really think you can sim it all the way to a real life scenario unless you're actually in that car. I just wish NASCAR would bring practice back. I bet that would be one of the keys to helping guys figure out the car a little bit more and getting setups to where we could maybe make it a little bit more equal every week. Maybe.
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 But remember back in the day where you had first practice, second practice,
Yep.
qualifying, happy hour.
Yep.
There's like 3 practices within a weekend.
And fans showed up for the entire weekend for it.
And I would sit there just like them and just watch the cars go around the track and listen and just, what are they doing? COVID ruined everything with that.
Ruined everything.
Ruined everything with
Dang
that.
COVID.
But that was, I mean, that was just the package right now, because
Yeah.
we could have a whole show dedicated just to this package and how crappy it is,
Right.
and how much NASCAR is shooting themselves in the foot. I hate to say that, because all you see on the wall back here is NASCAR stuff. I love the sport, but quit having drivers like Denny Hamlin, who's also a team owner, whispering NASCAR's here, this isn't right. Drivers like Chase Elliott I can't pass if he can even snowboard. He can't even snowboard, and he's complaining about passing. The way I see it is, have one person, Jim France or Kennedy, that Kennedy guy, once he takes over NASCAR, call the shots. And if the teams, sponsors, drivers don't like it, leave the sport. Do it the old Bill France way and Bill France Jr. way, because that's the only way you're going to right the ship. Have one person make the decisions. Now, the Fox broadcast.
Oh boy.
I know a lot of people have been complaining about this, not only for this weekend, but for the past couple of years. NASCAR on Fox has been under scrutiny. I have a theory of why.
Ooh, I can't wait to hear this.
But I'm curious to hear. Do you want me to go first, or you want to go first?
I want to. Let's hear your theory. You brought it up. Now I really want to know what your theory is.
It's actually 2 theories.
Okay, all right.
One, NASCAR and Fox isn't as well received as like NASCAR and NBC because of one person.
Oh boy.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. is not calling the shots. I don't hear one person complain about Dale Earnhardt Jr. and NASCAR and NBC doing anything.
Yeah, he's pretty good for the most part.
Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jeff Byrd, and Steve Letarte are great.
They are.
They're great. They really are. However, you flip the coin to Fox, and now they got people coming in all the time to help out Larry, or I guess we could say Larry McReynolds.
Larry McReynolds will show up.
We'll see the guys in the booth. For one, Mike Joy and Clint Boyer. They had Tony Stewart in there for the Daytona 500. Up until the last couple of weeks, they've had Danica Patrick in there, who I thought did a pretty good job.
She knows her stuff.
She really does. Now, with I feel overall Fox doesn't do a bad job. However, the racing on the track will dictate whether a broadcast does well or not. This is my second theory.
Okay.
If the race is good and Mike Joy's calling a good race, no one ever complains about the 98 Daytona 500 when he made that call. In fact, every Daytona season, every time we go to Daytona, 20 years of trying, and you always hear that call. What a great call Mike Joy did. If the race is good, there's no complaint from the fans about the product that NASCAR is broadcasting, Fox mainly.
Right.
If the racing is bad, every fan will complain about the commercials. Every fan will complain about Mike Joy. Every fan will complain about Clint Boyer or Danica Patrick or Tony Stewart. Whoever is in that seat talking at the time, they're a target. That's what I've observed over the past few years. And me, if you don't like the broadcast that's being called, mute the channel, put on MRN or PRN, and listen to those guys call a race.
That's just kind of hard because that's usually like 2 laps
okay,
behind.
Yeah, you're right. However, turn off the TV then and just listen to the radio.
I mean, I did that for the 500, honestly.
Yeah, it was fun.
I muted it. Sure was 2 laps behind, or actually, I'm sorry, 2 laps ahead. I was 2 laps ahead in the TV broadcast. I didn't care. It was whatever.
It was. But that's just me. Those are my couple theories about the broadcast. I'm not going to go chasing and dying on this hill because I don't care about it. If you don't like the broadcast, mute it and listen to the radio. And if you don't like that, just watch the race or listen to us about the race coverages. I don't know.
Yeah,
One day we might be calling a race.
That'd be kind of cool.
That would be really cool if they did that. But what are your thoughts on the broadcast here?
Well, I'll start with this. Okay, so I know that NASCAR is not Formula One, because with Formula One, when you talk about commercials, Formula One, they do an entire race broadcast with no commercials. NASCAR doesn't have the money for that. One. Two, if NASCAR did have the money for that, there's no way they would be able to pull it off, because a NASCAR race lasts a heck of a lot longer than an F1 race would. So there's a reason why F1 can pull that off as well. Just the race broadcast itself, not talking about any kind of pre-race or whatever. Usually they are able to do post-race too without a commercial. I don't think I've ever seen a commercial. NASCAR dumps a lot of coverage pre-race. You have NASCAR race day for like 2 hours, and then it switches over to Fox, and then you have a lead up of like 45 minutes, whatever. And they do, and somebody said this, somebody says they dump a lot of coverage into that. They cover a lot of stories, and then they don't have anything to cover during the race. I can kind of see that. But what really irks me with the broadcast, and viewership has been down this year than opposed to the first 4 or 5 races last year. And I think it has to do with, I really think that Fox thinks it's too much of a joke. They tend to joke way too much when I'm trying to watch a race. F1, they tend to joke sometimes, but they take it very seriously. Fox, I don't think takes it very seriously at all. And NBC takes it more seriously than Fox does.
Right.
Fox has got all these little, all the drivers they look like superheroes on the TV. They're all cartooned up or whatever. Denny Hamlin doesn't like that. He can't stand that. They're all cartooned up and everything, which is annoying.
Yeah, when that was introduced, it was kind of
stupid, wasn't it?
It was weird.
They're still there. It's still. I just don't get it. It's when you watch the race and they start talking about things on track, it's like the camera angle never matches up. So this past weekend at Phoenix, BJ McLeod is having issues. He can't get to the bottom of the track. It's happening as it's coming down the front stretch. Mike Joy is saying something about it. And he's talking about it for like 10 seconds or 15 seconds. Oh, BJ McLeod can't get down to the bottom of the track. What happens? We're watching in-car video of like Ricky Stenhouse or somebody like that for like 15 seconds. And then Ricky gets loose in the car. You can see it visibly on TV. I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh my God, he's getting loose. And he gets into the wall and nobody says a thing for like 2 minutes. And then all of a sudden, well, let's go back to the replay. Even though they were just on board, was nobody paying attention? Who's watching this thing? Who's in the back producing this thing?
Yeah. Now that brings up a good point here. Is it more of a product of the bad production, or is everybody just painting it on Mike Joy, Clint Boyer, or whoever else is in the broadcast booth at the moment, Danica Patrick or Tony Stewart or whoever? Is everybody pinning it on them and using them as a scapegoat for bad producing? If a car gets loose, or like BJ McLeod, shouldn't the producers go, hey, who has McLeod's car, and
let's cut to it.
Cut to them, and then just hit a button and it goes like this.
Or if nobody's got it, I don't know how many cameras they have actually there, but I mean, if nobody's picking it up, find it as fast as you can. I mean, Mike Joy is literally over here saying McLeod can't get to the bottom and there are cars driving by him. Like, hello, I would love to see that in case an accident happens. This is Phoenix. It's not Talladega. This is somebody can hit him. I mean, if he's coming down the front stretch and he can't get to the bottom, I would sure as heck like to know, because pit road entry is in turn 2. I can't even figure out Phoenix at this point. I'm getting lost. Turn 2.
But then I mean, I go back to this. Every car now has a in-car camera.
Right.
Why not just say cut to BJ McLeod's car?
Yeah.
And at least show the in-car camera.
That's the thing. They don't want to do that. And you're right. I think it's bad producing.
It's not Mike Joy's fault that the production is bad. NASCAR and Fox needs to maybe before Atlanta. Maybe Atlanta's too short.
Yeah.
Of a call, but before the following race after Atlanta, maybe hire a new producer, hire a new production crew, something. Because I mean, I don't blame Mike Joy, Clint Boyer for that.
Well, it's and that's what I'm saying. They need to take things like that seriously. Like, okay, so when things happen, like Daytona, I think it was. I want to say it was Daytona. Ty Dillon had that issue. I mean, right near the start of the race. I mean, a couple laps in, he's got an issue. They cut to him real quick as he comes to the road. That was it. That was all we saw. We didn't hear anything else. I feel like I wish that the broadcast would go a little bit further with things like that. Oh, there's an issue with Ty Dillon. Okay, well, let's somebody get down there and find out what it could be. Instead, we hear about it later on in the broadcast. Oh, well, Ty Dillon ended up going to the garage because of this. Are we not listening to anybody's scanner feeds, or can we pick up something from the scanner feed?
That is something I miss, especially with the old school like pit road reporters like Matt Yoakum and Steve Burns. I mean, Steve Burns has passed away, unfortunately. God rest his soul.
Absolutely.
But every time something happened, Steve Burns would get on there. Like if Tony Stewart was blown up, oh, something's wrong with the 20 car. What's going on there? I mean, oh man, he's smoking. You just hear Steve Burns key up. Mike, he just came in over the radio, said it blew up. It blew up. We don't know anything else right now. And at least, okay, well, we got something from pit road. Maybe it's the pit road reporters that need to step up their game.
I also think it's this, I don't like to compare different sports, but when you look at Formula One, there's 20 cars that they can cover. In NASCAR, there's 36 on a given Sunday in the Cup Series.
On a good day.
It's kind of probably, I would assume it's kind of hard to probably cover that many cars, but I'm not saying anything's really happening with those cars all the time. But like Formula One does a good job of making it serious. Not this past weekend, 2 weeks ago, Lando Norris was having issue after issue after issue, and he was in the pit so many times. And every time he came down to the pit lane, they cut right to it, or they had a side by side, and they would talk about it. Oh, this is what's happening. They're having engine issues. They're having to put pneumatic air or something like that in the car.
Wait. Pneumatic air. Oh my gosh.
I'm telling you, I swear I thought I heard something like that. Something with the air, and they were.
Pneumatic is air. Like I have a pneumatic impact.
I don't remember what it. I don't remember. There was a lot to explain, and I was trying to figure out what they were really doing because they weren't really explaining it very well.
It just was funny when you said pneumatic air. I don't. Wait, what?
Yeah, it was. It was really odd. It was hard to really understand because, like I said, they just would keep saying that he was coming to the pit lane, and they had to keep doing something for the car to, I guess, to extend the life, which is weird that they kept keeping him on track. Because usually, if there's a problem with the engine or anything like that, usually Formula One's kind of retiring the car at that point. They're like, oh, you know what? We don't need to carry on anymore. Let's just retire the car. But they kept sending him out there. I mean, he was, God forbid, probably laps down at this point. They kept sending him out there, which is odd. But that's what I'm saying. NASCAR doesn't, at least the productions, they don't tend to take it seriously. And I think that's why viewership is down as well. I feel like the people would like, if the race is boring, try to make it interesting somehow. Let's touch on some kind of stories that are going on in the world. But I mean, it's not only that. I think the viewership also has to do with, I think NASCAR races are just too long.
That's another topic for another day, my friend.
I just think that's why it is.
If we go down rabbit hole,
I think the production team can't figure it out when they've got to figure out how to fill 3 hours of content during a race. If the race is boring, what are they going to talk about?
It's been done in the past.
Well, I don't know. Somewhere along the lines, I think we just got lost somewhere.
All right. NASCAR's losing itself off in a lot of places right now. And to go down that rabbit hole, races are too long. It's a topic for another day. You brought this up. Chevy wins the first 4 races since 2001. Thoughts on that?
I mean, I tried to...
With 2 of them being a Hendrick win.
Yeah, 2 of them Hendrick.
William Byron.
I tried to go back and look at all these other races and try and look at other Chevy drivers, like Kyle Busch was looking so well, but RCR didn't, have top 10 finishes here and there and whatever. But with Hendrick Motorsports, especially in the last few weeks, let's see, last week at Phoenix, they had 3 cars in the top 10, excluding Josh Berry. He was still trying to figure out the car, which I think he needed a couple races to really figure out that car anyways. That's a big jump to go from Xfinity to next-gen car because those are 2.
Well, he definitely got it this weekend.
He got it this week. Hendrick Motorsports with 4 cars in the top 10.
Impressive.
I think it's not just a Chevy thing. I think it's a Hendrick Motorsports thing. And, yeah, okay, I'll entertain the idea of this. Byron led a lot of laps, and so did Kyle Larson this past weekend. But Byron only won the end of the race because we had to have all these overtime restarts and everything, and it bunches the field back up. But I mean, if we wouldn't have gotten to that point, I think Kevin Harvick probably would have won if there was no caution. But it doesn't matter. Hendrick was dominating. Chevy is dominating, but I think it's just more of Hendrick carrying the Chevy banner at this point. Kyle Busch is there. I'll throw Kyle Busch in there.
Kyle Busch is there. I'll agree with
that. But I think it's just mostly Hendrick at this point right now.
Now, I don't know if you listened to last week's episode of the show, the quick 20 28-minute episode, which we clearly surpassed at this point of this week, talking about, I wanted to bring up what's the deal with Hendrick in the first couple of races, and then all of a sudden, wow, nothing.
Yeah.
They just needed to, okay, we found it.
Yeah, we figured it out.
This is great for Chevy and bad for everybody else that doesn't have a bow tie on their hood. At this moment right now, if they don't figure out how to stop Hendrick, which is a tough ask for anybody out there, I don't care if you're 2311, Joe Gibbs, Stuart Haas, Roush Keselowski, Fenway, or Roush Fenway Keselowski, you're going to be on the outside looking in by the time playoffs start. That's 1. 2, pop quiz. We haven't done one of these in a while.
Oh boy.
In 2001, you mentioned the first 4 drivers were Chevys. Who were they? What team were they on? And what tracks were they?
Oh gosh. Well, Michael Waltrip won the Daytona 500. Okay, so there's that one.
For what team?
It was DEI.
Okay, so you got that one right.
Yeah.
All right, you're on a good streak right now.
I'm trying to remember what number. Rockingham was second week, right? Was it?
Okay, you got the track. Who won? We haven't done one of these in a while.
Steve Park won.
Okay, Steve Park with
DEI.
Okay, that's 2. Who's the third driver?
I don't remember what the third track was.
Oh, come on, man.
Was it Las Vegas?
Okay, that's the track.
Oh no. That's how old school I am. I remember that Las Vegas was the third. Yep. It was a flat Las Vegas too.
I by the way, I did this completely off of memory. If nobody believes me, you got to believe me. I did this completely off of memory.
Oh goodness, man, who was it? Dude, I don't remember now. I don't remember. Can you give me the team?
Hendrick.
I don't know.
Come on, man. Who was dominating in Hendrick in 2001?
Was it Jeff Gordon?
It was Jeff Gordon. Okay, I'll give you that one. That was a gimme.
I don't know the 4th track though. I don't remember anything after Las Vegas.
I had a bell. Ding, ding, ding. Okay, what was the 4th track? This is a big one, man.
I don't remember what the 4th track would have been after Las Vegas.
Oh my gosh. Think 2001.
Oh man. It wasn't West Coast, was it?
It wasn't West Coast. I'll give you that.
Okay. I do remember not a West Coast swing. Oh man, it's gonna kill me. It wasn't Atlanta, was it?
It was Atlanta.
It was Atlanta. Oh.
It was Atlanta. I'll give. Okay,
I remember that.
I think I gave it away right there.
No, you didn't, because that could have been anything, but that sounds right. Atlanta, 4th race, Atlanta. Kevin Harvick.
Kevin Harvick. For who?
For RCR.
You did
29. The Goodwright Chevy.
That was the first time I think you've ever nailed a pop quiz like that. Well done.
I remember some of my 2000s because those in my mind, those are some good memories of racing. 2000s through like 2007 or 8.
Well, that's only big into me because that's when I started watching NASCAR and racing. And then it led to
those were good. I find myself watching a lot of 2000s races on YouTube. A lot of them.
Not me as much as I used to.
I think the last one I was watching was actually 2005 Dover. It was a playoff race when they had like the chase for the Nextel Cup.
Oh, the chase.
I like the chase format.
No. We're not going to go down this route. I hear you what you're saying there, but we got a lot more to cover here. Eric Almirola here. Okay. Anything else? What before we get into that?
No.
Anything else? No. Okay. Eric Almirola, does he deserve a penalty for that tire issue he had?
No. Actually, everything that has come out since we're recording here on Tuesday, everything that's come out, no. Drew Blickensderfer, the crew chief, was actually the crew chief of Michael McDowell last year. He actually said, there was video that came out. He actually said that the lug nut was loose, and there's video out there of it coming off before that everything happening, before he hit the wall. So when it came off, the tire was moving back and forth a lot. It ended up cutting the tire down and just breaking everything apart. So the lug nut was loose.
Okay, so because to me, I haven't seen anything about it.
It was odd when it happened real time, because Mike Joy actually said, well, it sounded like the tire or something exploded or something like that. And so everybody was like, oh, okay, that's kind of odd that he's getting a penalty. How can they just say that it was already loose when people like Mike Joy are saying, well, the tire, it sounded like this thing just exploded and then he hit the wall. But then it came out that the wheel was loose, so people did get penalties for it.
Okay, so we will get. We're just going to forego that question.
Yeah. That was it. Didn't come out until today, which is weird.
Well, because when I looked at it at the moment,
It seemed
the wheel broke.
Yeah, it did.
So it was like, well, that's a mechanical failure of the wheel,
Exactly.
which we haven't
But they
seen
never touched on it that much anymore in the broadcast.
Nope, they didn't.
Remember.
They didn't.
That was one of the reasonings for me talking about the Fox broadcast when I had said something to you about it.
Fair enough, my friend. Last topic I want to cover here is about the Xfinity race, unless you have anything else about the Cup race.
No.
Junior Motorsports having an abysmal start to the season.
Yes, absolutely.
Just straight up. I mean, you want to forget this season already if you're in that camp, especially if you're Brandon Jones, Josh Berry.
Oh, yeah, Brandon Jones. Oh,
poor Brandon Jones.
A new team.
They're having an abysmal start. Phoenix didn't help out with any of that because a lot of the contact here during that race was between Junior Motorsports drivers, which one in particular ultimately led to Justin Allgaier hitting the wall and being eliminated.
Yeah, I do remember seeing that. Yes. Big accident.
So if you're Dale Jr., what are you saying this week to not only the drivers, but the crew chiefs and everybody going into Atlanta?
I'm having a few different meetings. I'm having a driver's meeting. Look, guys, I know that the first few weeks have been really crappy. Not a big deal. It's early in the season. We'll reset. I'm not going to say that everyone needs to mind their P's and Q's when you're racing around your teammates, because ultimately when it comes down to it, everyone is responsible for themselves. It's a dog eat dog world out there. Yeah, do you want to watch out for your teammates? Sure, but at the end of the day, if you got to battle your teammate for a win, you got to battle your teammate for a win. It's not like F1 where everyone's teammates are like, oh, teams are like, okay, well, you know what? For example, Lewis and George. Oh, and George, you know what? Lewis is faster than you. Let him by. NASCAR is a whole different ball game here, especially when you get 4 drivers that you got to keep control of. When it comes down to the end of the day, everyone's responsible for their own thing. They're trying to do their own things, get their own points, whatever. But you know what? As an owner, I'm sitting them down saying, look, let's reset. Not a big deal. Early in the season, let's start back at Atlanta. Let's figure it out. Maybe it's some bad luck over the last few weeks. Not a big deal. That's not the end of the world. I would do the same thing with the teams, sit the crew chiefs down. The whole team is just say, look, we're going to restart from, let's reset things. It's things happen. It's early in the season. Not a big deal. We can rebound from it. Well, 4 races in? I mean, yeah, you have a 26 race, technically regular season schedule. So it's not like the entire season, but it's still early. We're okay. I don't want teams imploding here at this point. I don't want my guys to be like, oh boy, this is it. We can't rebound. It's only 4 races in. Not a big deal. That's what I'm saying.
If I'm running the checks at Junior Motorsports, I just fixed 4 cars this past weekend. Not all of them wreck out, and it isn't like super speedway racing where it's totally unpredictable. But man, I mean, I can understand if it's a white flag and everybody gets into each other, but in the middle of the race, the start of the race, come on, man. I mean, accidents happen. It's racing. And I don't think you could point the finger at one particular driver of Junior Motorsports. I think they're all kind of at fault here, running into each other. But if Junior Motorsports doesn't get it together, regardless if it's early in the season or not, you're going to right the ship right when the playoffs start. And by then you might be on the outside looking in with, let's say, 1 race to go before the playoffs, 1 race to go in the regular season, vice 20 something.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have that. If you're a Junior Motorsports fan, you're probably like you going to say, hey, it's just part of it. We're going to get rebounded. Everything's going to be fine. But if you're like me, I'm a Junior Motorsports fan. I got the sign right there. I'm saying, what the crap, man? Something needs to change. Something needs to change right now, because this is unacceptable for the caliber of drivers that Junior Motorsports have. What happened in Phoenix was a bunch of amateur hour, I feel.
Fair enough.
To me, it was.
Fair enough.
And that's the only thing I'm going to talk about Junior Motorsports have, because I really do like him. Okay. Anything else regarding this past weekend in Phoenix?
No.
Atlanta coming up. A super speedway.
I like the quotation.
A mile and a half super speedway here. which I'm not the whole reconfiguration of that. I wasn't a big fan of. It made for good racing, but at the same time, it turned a mile and a half speedway into a drafting heavy super speedway.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I wasn't happy with the change at first either, but I go look back at years ago at the All-Star race at Charlotte when they had that package where they were all
Right.
racing it back. It was actually kind of exciting. I was like,
It
that's
was.
kind of cool. It's not bad. And I hate that the old Atlanta kind of went away, but I mean, at the same time, it's kind of cool. Kind of.
Atlanta has its own little perks too, and I've raced it in iRacing. Actually, finished third in the Truck Series VRL.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you watch that race. Go back and watch our YouTube and AAA broadcasting, and you'll see it there. Great racing, fun racing, pack racing.
Yeah.
One person messes up, a lot of people are going to get caught up in it. That's neither here or there, I feel, because everybody kind of understands this. But thoughts on this? You brought it up. I'm going to let you take it about the pit road.
Yes, the commitment line. So I didn't really know anything about it. Anthony Alfredo takes a picture of it, puts it up on the Twitter.
He does. Yeah, he puts it up on for the whole world to see.
And everybody loses their minds. And even I was like,
I did too.
I saw it and I was like, huh, that's a little interesting. And of course, I didn't know the full story right away. I'm like, okay, commitment line. Oh, so they have to hit that line to get to pit road. Not a big deal. I guess they're just driving as fast as they want around the apron, or as fast as they probably think they should. I mean, the apron's kind of a flat area.
Right.
I mean, you can only go so fast. And then I want to say it was Bob Pockris.
Here we go.
Puts it out there and says, yeah, you have to hit that commitment line, but it's pit road speed from there on fourth. And I was like, excuse me?
Fourth. That's the catch-all here. Once you hit that commitment line in turn 3, you have
this, and it's not like in turn 3. I mean, this is literally right at the end of the backstretch.
This is at the end of the backstretch. It isn't in the middle of 3.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
that would be dangerous as it is,
yeah,
but
exactly.
this is in the middle at the end of the backstretch. If you want to pit, you have to come down. This is going to be so dangerous. There are going to be so many accidents and so many penalties because of this. Now, did you ever figure out why this is an issue?
So a lot of drivers were complaining that last year, and some Michael Vidal actually commented on it and said that it was they were glad that NASCAR listened, because a lot of drivers complained last year how hard it was to get onto the pit road, or how hard it would have been to get onto pit road if you're essentially super speedway pack racing coming off of turn 4 at Atlanta, which I can understand. I get it. I do understand that. That would be heck of a lot of cars trying to make that if everyone's trying to stay in a pack. You look at it like Daytona and Talladega. How many cars are coming down pit road at one time? Pretty much half the field, or at least a good chunk of the field.
It depends on what manufacturer's coming down at the moment.
All that bull crap manufactured out the window crap. Anyways, so yeah, I heard in let's be real. It's not like Daytona where you come off turn 4 and you have all of that room before you get to pit road. This is Atlanta. I mean, right off of 4, boom, pit road's there. If you're gonna get there, boy, good luck. Which I think the last race there were no green flag pit stops, so nobody really had to worry about that. But now, I guess this is to also encourage green flag pit stops. I gotta say, Matt, this is gonna be very interesting to watch. I think in my mind think it's dangerous because, one, who the heck is gonna get? This is
gonna be such a cluster. It's not even gonna be
just
funny.
Imagine coming off of turn 2, Atlanta, which is the backstretch is like, I mean, I didn't even know how to describe how many feet it is compared to like a Talladega. Let's say, imagine if Talladega had it at the end of 3.
Abysmal.
It would be a little bit easier to figure out. But Atlanta, everybody's coming off of turn 2. I don't know. I can't remember the rate of speed off the top of my head, but in a pack. And they have to get slowed down to, what's pit road speed going to be, like 55 miles an hour, 60? That's a pretty hefty price.
It is going to be such a freaking cluster. I guarantee you one big wreck going on the pit road, and NASCAR's going to be like, well, we need to maybe reconsider this before the Cup race.
My thought process is, when Atlanta got repaved and redone with the higher banking, they figured, I don't know if they really thought right then and there, we're probably gonna have pack racing, but did nobody really think about pit road then? I mean, I'm not a smart person. I probably would have never even thought of it either, but looking back at it now, did nobody ever think about that? Like, was that not one of the things that they thought, well, if we're gonna have higher banking, maybe pack racing, well, how the heck are we getting on the pit road?
Here's the problem with this whole thing.
What?
Drivers and fans, be careful what you wish for because it could come true. You wanted to change Atlanta Motor Speedway because it was a boring race. It was going down the road of Texas. I mean, Texas is Atlanta if Atlanta didn't change.
I don't know about that.
It could have been. I feel like it was heading down that path. Atlanta said, we're going to go progressive banking. And man, we're going to have pack racing because you can be able to run wide open through that whole track. Fans got what they wanted. Drivers, I don't want to say so much, got what they wanted. However, Michael McDowell and the likes of that deciding, oh, it is dangerous getting on the pit road and pack racing at a 1.5 mile speedway in which the track and the facility are not equipped to handle pack racing coming off of turn 4 trying to get to pit road. Either we didn't put our ducks in a row planning for a pit stop, or the track went overboard and said, oh, this is going to be a great idea, and totally got it wrong. And now NASCAR said, we can fix this. Yes, this makes perfect sense. What we'll do is put the commitment cone not at the start and maybe do something else. We're going to put it in turn 3 at the end of the backstretch. Yes, that won't cause any issues. The drivers will be happy. Yes, and you're going to hit pit road speed there, or else you're going to get a penalty. Kyle Busch is going to get nailed on so many speeding penalties this season, or this upcoming week, and it's not even going to be funny. And a lot of other drivers will too. I guarantee you, whether it's truck, Xfinity, or Cup, one of those 3 things, I'm going to bet my money, maybe the trucks on this one.
I would love to see. I can't wait to see how that's
Matt Crafton's not going to be happy about this whatsoever.
Truck Series will get the test out first.
The Truck Series are going to wreck. Somebody's going to wreck. Somebody's going to mess up. Try to lock it down too much, lose it, come back onto the track, gather up a bunch of cars. If that doesn't happen, I don't know. I needed some kind of repercussion about this. I'll give a lucky fan, a t-shirt, but I have a feeling they're going to lock it down so much that it's going to cause more problems than it is in the future. Be careful what you fish for. I'm not a fan of it. Adapt and overcome, just like the team said, just like we said earlier, I guess, in the broadcast. Adapt and overcome. And if you can't, nothing saying you have to be there that weekend in Atlanta.
Okay, I'll say this. I hope that nothing happens.
Maybe I'm wrong. Something will happen.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, which I probably have been plenty of times, but I really don't care, honestly. I don't care if fans come on here and say, well, you've been wrong so many other times. I care less. You can tell it to me until you're blue in the face. I care less. I don't know. I try to imagine. I'm not a race car driver, but I try to put myself in the driver's seat of thinking, comparing it like this. If I'm coming off a turn 4 at Daytona, I can see where it's at. I know where I need to start getting slowed up at because we've raced at it so many times. But now that you're changing it right out the gate, oh my God. Okay, well, guess what? Last year it was over here. This year it's here. And guess what? You're hitting pit road speed at the end of the backstretch. And by the way, Atlanta's not a very big track. I mean, the backstretch is
a mile and a half.
Exactly. The backstretch is only so long. I can just imagine what's going through people's minds as they're in the middle of turn 1 thinking, oh my God, I got to get down. This is it. It's happening. And then when they come off of turn 2, they only have so long to think, oh my God, I got to get the car slowed down. But you know what? The commitment line's going to be here before you know it. People are going to be mashing on the brakes and locking the wheels up. I can see it now. It's going to be such a freaking cluster. See it.
There are going to be wrecks getting onto pit road just like Daytona. It's going to be a cluster.
But honestly, it's not just that, Matt. This is the other thing that bothers me. And somebody did it. Somebody did the math, and they were like, for the first round of green flag pit stops, if it even happens, the cars that get to pit road and get pit stops done, they're going to be like 2 or 3 laps down when they come back out. And this is where safety comes into play for me. What about that pack of cars that comes off of pit road and starts going? What if the other whoever else,
the merge,
it's not just that. It's not just the merge that's going to happen, because you can put it on technology and try and break it down all day long of what it might be like when it's going to happen. Oh, 2 laps down. But until you actually see it in person of when it actually happens, you have to worry about the merge. But not only that, when those cars that come off pit road and then back in the back and driving at God knows whatever speed, 180, 190 miles an hour, whatever it is, What about those other cars that are? What if those other cars that haven't pitted yet are so far in front that when they make the commitment line and they're driving at 55 miles an hour on the apron? What about the pack of cars that is driving by at 190 miles an hour in the turn? What if somebody wrecks and hits a car doing 55 miles an hour? You cannot tell me that is not dangerous. And I don't know if anyone has even thought of that yet. I don't know, but that's what I thought right away. I was like, oh my God, what if somebody's down there? I mean, we think about it like this. Okay, yeah, somebody's had problems at Daytona Talladega before, and the field goes blowing by them while they're on the apron. But like, what if this happens? I mean, this is a 1.5-mile track. Dude, I mean, let's be real. Mistakes happen at this track. I mean, come on.
This is going to be the biggest cluster. Because now
if I'm
you
wrong,
make a great
oh
point.
my God. But
no, you make a great point. You make such an argument in the point because I never thought of, what if they wreck in the turn 3 and 4 and old poor BJ McLeod's there just kind of minding his own business. I'm just on the pit. I'm on
you
pit
have
road.
To think of it
and
like
he
that.
wrecks him.
I mean, you're talking about one car at Daytona that could be on the apron, but you're talking about multiple cars that have to hit a commitment line. When everybody's going to try and pit at one time to stay in a pack.
I have never.
You're talking about.
You're
not talking about one car. You're talking about like 5, 10, maybe even 15 cars on the apron, all at 55 miles an hour, whatever pit road speed is going to be.
I didn't even think of that, and not once did I think of that because I thought about just now is the cars coming off of pit road.
Yeah, the merge.
And the merge.
Oh my God. Could you imagine?
Like,
I'm sure somebody has done the math and has put it out there that, there was no way that the merge could happen, but it could. Let's be real. You can't base everything off technology and how simulations run, because when it's the real world throws different scenarios right out there. I mean, it could be anything. Oh my gosh. Just imagine the merge. Oh my God. I didn't even think of it like that. When you brought it up, I was like, oh my God, Matt's right. What about the merge? I'm like, boy, I'm going way off. I'm about to bring something else up. And Matt is like, the merge. And I'm like, oh my God, that's another thing. Holy crap.
Okay. If something happens this weekend, make sure to go to our stores at Teespring and Bonfire because we're going to have the merge at Atlanta t-shirts. It's going to happen, folks. It's going to happen. I promise you. We're going to have merch.
I honestly hope that I'm wrong and it somehow goes off without a hitch, but I just can't see it happening like that.
It's not going to go off without a hitch. I could already tell. I mean, before we even thought about the merge, before I even thought about the cars coming on the pit road and doing all that stuff, I've just thought it is going to be a cluster trying to slow down off the backstretch going 190. You have to start slowing down in 1 and 2.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. They have to. It's got to be like what I'm pretty sure it was like 190 miles an hour. It's got to be, or at least 180. Still, even 170. That's a lot to go from. Oh my
gosh, it's gonna be so bad.
And so many feet on the backstretch. Yikes!
It's gonna be so bad.
For once, NASCAR might actually strike on something and be like, especially after the first time, if something bad. Could you imagine?
You remember when the whole thing happened at Indy Road Course the first time they ran it and the whole jump into the curves and stuff, and they decided, okay, we got to take these out.
Oh, in the middle of the race?
In the middle of the race.
Yeah.
It's going to be like that. They're going to change up the rules, and guess what? Drivers are going to be mad. Fans are going to be like, well, why didn't you think of this before? But remember, you heard it first here at Ramblin about racing.
It blew my mind when I was like, oh, yeah, not a big deal. Hit the commitment line. Surely they're got to be doing some kind of speed around there. Then when they said, well, nope, that's pit road speed. Yikes. That's 2 or 3 laps down. Oh, just imagine. Ugh.
I'll
have to wait and see, as we always say.
We're going to have to wait and see, as we always say, but I'm going to leave it here on this one before we get into our Formula One preview. What are you expecting to see, considering this is going to be the third race at this current track configuration at Atlanta? What are you expecting to see? I think we've already kind of saw it with this commitment cone, the pit road commitment thing. We're expecting to see something we probably haven't seen before, but we warned you, NASCAR, that it's going to be interesting to see. I expect to see nothing but a condensed version, a shorter version of Daytona and Talladega, just like we saw the past couple of years, or the past couple of races, I should say.
It'll probably start off a little slow. Guys just working it in, trying to figure it out. Will there be some passing? I'm sure there will be. I mean, it'll be slow. And then towards the end, how it's like that typical super speedway race. Everything's all fine and dandy. We're just minding our own business. And then, it's time to go. Well, guess what? All bets are off. And then I'm sure, all heck is going to break loose. And People will be spinning, but I mean, it probably won't even. We'll probably be having issues before that with pit road if they even have green flag pit stops. Because like I said, I think it was the last race somebody mentioned that there was no green flag pit stops anyways. It's just NASCAR's way of saying, "Oh, we can have green flag pit stops here now."
I don't.
I don't know. I mean, I don't like to wish bad on NASCAR and hope that things are wrong. But man, when like if you didn't do any of the math, like if you're just a fan that sees the picture right away, that's what I want people at home to think of when they're watching, saying, "Boy, those guys aren't really thinking about it very well." But you have to think of it like this: when I saw the picture right away, I didn't do any thinking. I'm just thinking right off the top of my head, "Boy, that seems really dangerous." Something just doesn't seem right about that.
See, you thought it was really dangerous. I said, that's stupid.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know, man.
Well, I immediately was just like, well, that's kind of
between me and
awkward.
you.
But like immediately after saying that's kind of awkward, I'm just like, how is that really gonna play out? And I was like,
Not well.
yeah, well, like I said, I didn't think of dangerous until they said, well, that's pit road speed. And I was like,
Uh-oh.
oh boy.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you get the eyes wide. Oh, yikes.
That's not going to be fun. All right. Anything else about Atlanta?
No,
Okay,
I
you know,
did nothing else.
It's going to be interesting to see your wheelhouse now, Mr. Formula One guy. Saudi Arabian Grand Prix coming up this week, and after a couple weeks off after the Bahraini Grand Prix, who do we need to watch out for going into Saudi Arabia?
I hope that it's not a one-off. I want to say Aston Martin. Let's be real. I want to say Aston Martin. I don't want to say it's a one-off because, like I said before, during the preseason testing, Aston Martin was talked about a lot, and people were like, "Oh boy, this is it. Maybe this is finally the year." Which I understand they had to get some,
maybe not the year, but
they had to get some things up and running when they, the team rebranded from Racing Point. They didn't have all the facilities yet, and I don't think everything's completely built yet. But they made up a big time difference between last year's preseason testing, and everyone's like, "Oh boy, Aston Martin's kind of near the top." And I was like, "Okay, well, let's slow the roll down. Let's get to Bahrain first and see what happens." And then, well, they blew me away in qualifying, first of all, especially with Lance Stroll, who got in an accident and had to have surgery on his hand, and he still drove the race. Still showed up, drove the race, and finished top 10. And qualified very well. But man, Fernando Alonso was like, "Yo, hold my beer, watch this." And this man's driving the heck out of the car and got podium, third place in his first race with Aston Martin. I hope it's not a one-off, but I really think Aston Martin needs to be watched again this week.
I agree there. Of course, they're my second one. Of course, our eyes are gonna be on Red Bull for Verstappen, Perez.
Right. Yeah.
They're gonna all eyes are on them ever since what Verstappen did 2021. Winning the drivers' championship. Red Bull, yeah. Unless they barring any unforeseen events, Red Bull is the one to watch. But I did put down Aston Martin. Alonso blew me away. I picked him to win. I didn't think he'd even have be on the sniffing of the podium. But watching that race, it was a great race because of that. Perez and Verstappen were gone. The battle was for third. Alonso won that battle.
He did a great job of coming back and passing Mercedes.
I hope it's not a one-off. They're second in the Constructors' Championship now. Red Bull might not need to watch out for them. They have the target on their back, but I don't think Red Bull needs to watch out for them. But you know who does? Ferrari. Mercedes. They need to watch out for this team.
Yep.
Because now they've showed their hand. Stroll's a great driver. Unfortunately, he's not 100%. I don't know if he's 100% now going into Saudi Arabia. But Alonso showed, I still got it.
Yep.
Watch out for them. Aston Martin, I completely agree with you there. Second one, the flip side of that coin.
Well, actually, can I stop you there?
Absolutely. Go ahead, man.
I actually wrote down 2 teams to watch out for.
See, I wrote down 2 teams too. One was Red Bull. The other one was
Williams.
They do explain.
Yes, it's I love it. Do explain. Alexander Albon finished 10th. He got a point for them. They have points for once. After the first race, barring it's just one, but Logan Sargent, 12th place finish in his first race. I think Williams is starting to slowly get back in the groove of things. I'm not going to say it's, oh my God, look out. But like, I think we need to keep an eye on them, see what happens in Saudi Arabia. Maybe they sneak in another point. Maybe they have good qualifying, something. or maybe Logan Sargent finishes between 10th and 15th again. I mean, I would take that as a win if I'm Williams. Are you kidding me?
Right.
After a couple seasons ago where they were like dead last all the time.
Now, answer me this, and I don't know if you know it offhand. If not, you can find out at next week's episode. When was the last time Williams, prior to Bahrain this season, scored a point?
Oh,
I mean, I don't know.
I don't remember off the top of my head. You'd probably have to, you'd probably have to go back a couple years, I think, for
Right.
sure, easily. Because I never even saw them even close to the front.
No.
I mean, for the last couple seasons, they were almost like dead last.
No,
all the
they were a
time.
joke on the grid.
Absolutely. That was when they ended up selling to all those, selling, getting a new
Right.
CEO or whatever.
Right.
So, yeah.
Kept the name, though. Glad they kept the name.
Yeah.
All right. So those are the teams to watch out for, who we expect to be up there on the grid, towards the front of the grid, coming up here. Maybe not Williams up there to the front, but in contention to score points. What teams need to rebound after Bahrain?
It's an easy one. McLaren.
McLaren.
I think McLaren.
McLaren.
DNF, and then of course Lando Norris had that engine issue as well. I think McLaren is definitely the team that needs to rebound, but I want to say Ferrari, but it's not entirely a whole team issue. Yeah, I guess you could say it's a whole team issue. It's just bad luck again with engine issues again, man. Carlos Sainz finished.
Yeah, he finished. Keeping them afloat.
Yeah, but man, I think it's the bad luck. I really think it's bad luck. I mean, they have a new team principal. Well, I can't remember Fred. I don't know how to say his last name. It's like Vasseur. He came from Alfa Romeo last year, and he's good. He's a great-minded person, very smart. I just think it's bad luck. I just think Ferrari just has this weird bad luck thing with them. So I would have to say McLaren and probably Ferrari. Haas, I wouldn't say a rebound because I wasn't really expecting a whole lot of them either. Even though they had great qualifying run with Nico Hülkenberg, but Nico got into that. He had contact right at the start of the race, which messed everything up. I mean, the front wing. I mean, they had to change it at some point, so that threw off everything. I'll throw Haas in there too. I think they could use a rebound.
All right, I agree with you on both ones, Ferrari and Haas. Ferrari, you need both cars in the points.
Yes.
Williams did a good job of having one car in the points. That's not going to do it. That's not going to put you up to constructor standings. You need both cars in the points, preferably top fives and definitely podiums throughout the course of the race weekend. Ferrari, they need that. Carlos Sainz can carry this team. Charles Leclerc, the prodigy, they talked about him a long time before he entered into that seat. Needs to show that he's meant to stay in that seat, because Ferrari will most likely say, if he doesn't perform, you're gone. Yep. As they should, and give it to someone else who can perform. You could say it's a team issue. You could say it's a car. You could say it's a driver. All those things combined to make a consistent organization in Formula One. Hülkenberg with Haas. Big news. Coming out of retirement, coming back into Formula One. Him and Kevin Magnussen are not rookies.
No.
They're veterans of the sport. They need to step up and act like veterans. Qualifying's great. A team that qualifies fifth that normally doesn't qualify fifth has a reason to celebrate. But as you like to say, and as Lee Corso likes to say, not so fast.
Not so fast.
It doesn't matter where you start. It matters where you finish. If you don't finish in the points, barring anything outside anybody's control, engines fail, transmissions fail, accidents happen on the start. Bad pit stops happen. But it's time to rebound.
Yes, it is.
Unfortunately, it isn't like NASCAR where everybody gets points and you could rebound throughout the course of the season. No, you got to rebound now. Oh, by race 5, there's no way you're going to be in contention to do anything as far as constructor standings.
You bring up a good point. And I look at the standings, and Ferrari's sitting in fourth in the constructor standings.
Fourth in the constructor
12
standings.
points. And who's first? Red Bull with 43. It's like you can't afford to miss a week.
Because 1 and 2. They finished 1 and 2.
Yep, that's right. And there's only so many points that get given for the top 10, but especially first place with like 25, and then second place gets like 18.
Yeah, but at the same time, Red Bull did it.
Yeah.
Run 1-2. Max points.
You have to have both cars up there in points no matter what.
Yep.
Ferrari's already, you could say, is in a hole. I mean, we have to see what happens with the next race. I mean, still
they're in a hole.
They're in a hole.
Mercedes had both cars finish in the points.
16 points though.
But both cars finished in the points.
Right. Yeah.
Just saying, man.
Ooh.
It's going to be interesting to watch here. Hopefully, like I said last week, or the week before, I think you were on there. Verstappen doesn't run away with it. We see a great season, and him not secure the championship with 5 races to go. But I'm not gonna
hold your breath.
Hold my breath on that one there, Preston. Okay. Anything else regarding F1?
No.
All right. Start time's coming up here. We'll start off with NASCAR Cup Series. Sunday, March 19th at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fox will be the race from Atlanta. Xfinity race and trucks will be racing the doubleheader, starting off with the trucks March 18th. That's a Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on FS1. Right after that is going to be the Xfinity race Saturday, March 18th at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on FS1. Formula One kicking off, going lights out at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on ESPN. That's Sunday, March 19th. Race winners for Cup, Xfinity, Truck, and Formula One. Preston, do you want to go or do you want me to go?
I can go first. I'll go first.
Okay, go first.
All right. Do we just want to Cup, Xfinity? We're just going to go straight down the list? Or how do you want to do it?
Let's just go straight down the list. Unless you want to do Cup, we'll go one-on-one. We'll go 1 for 1. We'll start off with Cup.
Okay. I'm going Kyle Busch this weekend.
Okay.
I think, he proved that he was not bad at Daytona, considering now, like I said, like we said before, this is 1.5 miles Atlanta, even though it's kind of like super speedway racing. I think Kyle Busch, I have confidence in Kyle Busch this weekend.
All right, Kyle Busch.
Chevy with another win.
Okay, I'm with you with the Chevy. However, I'm going to stick with the consistent team that's staying up there, and that is Hendrick, and the team within there, Kyle Larson.
Ooh, I like it.
Kyle Larson gets it done here at Atlanta for me. Well, I've been off the last couple of weeks here. Xfinity.
I'm going Justin Allgaier. I'm actually going to pick Justin Allgaier and Junior Motorsports rebounds. This is it. This is where the ship gets righted.
Nope. Not this. Not this weekend, buddy. Because Austin Hill continues his dominance and wins at Atlanta for the Xfinity Series race, Truck Series.
I had to look over it for a minute, and I was like, man, I want to pick Zane Smith. I wanted to pick Trish Neckis, and I went, oh, you know what? I'm going Matt Crafton.
Okay, this is why I definitely have backups, because I picked Crafton at first too. But my pick now, since you picked Crafton, and that's okay. Kyle Busch Motorsports, Chase Purdy.
Ooh.
Chase Purdy.
Okay, all right.
And finally, Formula One, Saudi Arabian Grand Prix.
I didn't want to have to pick Red Bull. I picked Sergio Perez. I really wanted to go with that Aston Martin. Honestly, I really wanted to be like, maybe Fernando Alonso. But I was like, thinking about Saudi Arabia, whoever's kind of starting towards the front may have a little bit more of an advantage because let's be real. I don't remember how many turns in Saudi Arabia. I think it's like 22 or something like that. This is a street. That's not really a street course, I guess you could say, but there's gonna be a lot of turns. So there's a lot more wheeling and dealing this week. So I would think whoever's kind of towards the front's got a better advantage, at least at the start, and can get away further.
All right, Sergio Perez. Yeah, okay. Sergio Perez was my backups. That's why I was like, oh no. But now I realize it's an apprentice season. So Sergio Mercedes gets it done with Russell.
Oh, I like that pick. I would like to see George Russell.
I want to see George Russell over Lewis Hamilton. Let's say that.
I want to see a George Russell win. Okay,
but I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind seeing that this weekend. So those are our picks. Let us know what your picks are using hashtag what you think ITM on all major social media platforms. Anything else before we get into our final thoughts here, Preston?
Nope.
All right. Before we wrap up today's episode, I wanted to remind everyone out there about a partner that has been with Ramblin About Racing since we were called In the Marbles Weekly Racing Podcast, and since we were on the Unhinged Sports Network, and that is Fanatics. Fanatics is your one-stop shop for everything NASCAR, for your favorite drivers' t-shirts, hoodies, hats, diecast, and so much more. But it isn't just NASCAR. I get all my Alabama Crimson Tide gear from there, as well as my Washington Capitals gear there as well. One-stop shop for everything you need, any type of sport you need. Links can be found under the sponsor tab at ramblinaboutracing.com, as well as under the podcast description and YouTube description, depending on whether you're watching or listening to Ramblin About Racing. Head over there right now and get your favorite sports gear need for this upcoming season.
White flag, white flag. White flag, white flag. White flag. 1 lap to go. 1 lap right here.
Final thoughts on this week's episode of Ramblin About Racing. Again, if you joined us on your regular podcast platform or on YouTube, really do appreciate you taking the time to join myself and Preston for the first time in the ITM Media Studios in a long time. Last time you were here, it was summertime. It was quite warm.
Yeah.
I have yet to hook up that nice little heater right there on the wall.
Oh, you didn't really think you would need to, but
I thought we were in summertime. Unfortunately,
living in South Carolina, you go through a lot of fall seasons.
We were in the. I saw this great meme. It made perfect sense. We were in summertime. We were in springtime. We sprung forward too hard. Back to winter.
Yeah.
That's the only way we could put it. That's the only way I could put it right now.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It's
Because
just
we're under a freeze warning today.
Yeah, it's gonna be like 32 degrees in the morning.
A great time. Maybe not a great time. Maybe now it's not the great time to head over to your Teespring and Bonfire store for Ramblin About Racing and buy a hoodie or a sweatshirt, because then you might not use it again till
That's okay. You'll have
October,
it when
November.
you need it.
You will, like in this case.
What
tonight.
if all of a sudden it's just cold again? Oh,
yeah, I know.
Well, it's a good thing I have my Ramblin About Racing hoodie.
Yeah,
that I bought months ago.
That's right. Or maybe
and while you're over there,
I wish we had a beanie.
While you're over there, just get a t-shirt then too, because summertime's coming up.
Or a beer mug.
Well, that's it. Yeah, of course.
It's
summertime. You're gonna have to sport your shirt and drink a beer while you're watching the race. Duh.
Yeah, while you're grilling out at least. I don't know. I've missed you, Preston. I've missed you. You pitch it so much better than anybody else. I'm dogging them. But this week, final thoughts here. Finally got into good show. Great show. Great having you back, man. It's definitely great to see you here in the studio. So we had to call an audible there and bring you here, but no problem here. I'm going to leave it up to you. Final fantasy standings or this week in NASCAR?
We'll go fantasy standings first.
Fantasy standings first. Go ahead and let us know what we did, because I finally this week created my lineup. Let's see if I jumped in the standings.
Wait a minute. Are you saying that you forgot to create your lineup half the time?
For the past 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh, you fell down. Well,
it doesn't matter.
Well, you might have jumped. I don't know.
Let's see here.
So technically we have like 16 people in the league, but 2 of them at the bottom aren't participating. They have 0 points. So let's just say we have 14 people.
Which is more than last year.
That's right. More than last year. Bringing up the rear of the field in 14th, Smokin' Woody with 531 points. 13th is, I don't even know how to pronounce that, TS Promo D. That's a weird name to put. 560 points. Charlie, Chuck 8384, sitting 12th with 581 points.
Defending champion, by the way.
Yes, defending champion, by the way. Sitting 11th is Grocery Getter 6 at 608 points. There you are. Number 10, Ogbeam 22. That's you, right? 609 points.
Yeah, that's me.
Sitting 9th is Sissy K with 617 points. 8th is B Nun 3 with 639. I don't even know who half of these people are, honestly.
That's okay, man. They're all in it for a $200 Amazon gift card this year.
That's right. Yours truly sits 7th, SMR Operations at 661 points. I feel like I haven't really moved very much. I feel like I'm probably dropping at this point. Sitting 6th, Super Sumo 32 with 668 points. Number 5 is DraftKings Research Lineup, 669 points. I'm dying to know who that is. Number 4 is S Blades with 678 points. Number 3 is my brother, Money Team Moon Rovers at 684 points. What a name.
Really good one.
Number 2, Matt Camper at 698 points. And then number 1, the Sports Stove, sitting at 724 points.
That is a podcast that is on Belly Up Sports.
So
Belly Up
we
Sports
have
Network.
another podcast that's coming here and is beating us at our own game. Let's see how it is.
You know what we need to do is go in there and play fantasy football.
I'm not the best fantasy football
I'm not
person,
either.
I can tell you
It's
right
clear
now.
that I'm not the best fantasy NASCAR person.
Well,
as well.
I'll throw this in there for you. In my fantasy football season this past year, there's like it's like 12 guys who've been doing it since high school, and I fell to 0-6 to start the season. And there's only like 13 games in the regular season because they have to do playoffs in the regular NFL season. And I finished at 7-6. I came all the way back and had like a 7-game winning streak. So I guess I was somewhat decent at fantasy football for once.
If you would have just
made the playoffs,
that
was a win for me.
if you would have just kept that up. Now, answer me this. I know I asked you a few weeks ago. What's the deal with your SMR R&D?
Oh, Maples?
Yeah, what's the deal with Maples?
No, I don't know why he's not. I don't know why he's not playing.
He just disappeared off of all of our social media.
I don't know. He's probably busy or something.
So he's
a busy man.
So he says, "I'm just not going to follow Ramblin' About Racing anymore."
I don't know. You might have to ask him that.
He's your friend. He's my fan, but your friend. I don't know how else to put that, buddy. I'm just saying. Let him know we're talking about him on the show. Maybe he'll follow us back or just say, "No, heck with these guys."
I'll let him know.
Okay, because you let him know that I keep track of that. I keep track of the numbers on social media, YouTube, the plays we get. I keep track of everything. When I see someone dip away, I'm like, who dipped away? And it's like, oh, there's Maples. I'm like, all right.
That's watching.
Yeah.
Every move.
Big brother right here, man. Big brother. All right. We'll just cut off with that shenanigans here and go this week in NASCAR, March 16th, 1980. Sophomore Dale Earnhardt fins off a pesky Rusty Wallace to score his first superspeedway victory in the Atlanta 500. I'm sure they didn't have pit lane commitment issues back in 1980.
No, they did not. The track was also not configured the way it is now either.
No, it wasn't. Earnhardt comes from the 31st starting position to beat Wallace by 9.55 seconds. Wallace was making his NASCAR Winston Cup Grand National debut in a Chevy owned by Roger Penske. And that happened this day in NASCAR, March 16th, 1980.
Wow, Roger Penske and Chevy. I mean, Roger Penske and Dodge too, and then Roger Penske and Ford. So
agreed.
Yeah, so
that would be weird to see. But Preston, thanks for showing up, man.
Man, thanks for having me.
No, I appreciate it.
What
man.
an audible that was called. Hey, man, might as well just come here.
And I know it's starting to get cold here.
I was like, okay, sure.
And you're in shorts and a hoodie here in the ITM Media Studio.
You like my blue shorts? It's pretty nice.
I mean, yeah, but you got to be starting to get cold.
No, I'm fine.
You're high. There's no way. I'm
Not
freezing.
Quite.
I'm in jeans, a jacket, and I'm cold. There's no way that.
No, I don't have any problem. I actually would wear shorts until it's like 30 degrees outside.
No, careful what you wish for, because guess what? It's going to be tonight.
I'm going to wear shorts tomorrow, too.
Okay. Well, better you than me.
I know.
Okay. well, Preston, anything else before we wrap it up here on this week's episode of Ramblin' About Racing? Thanks again for showing up, man.
Yeah.
Sorry that Charlie and Austin couldn't be here. That would have made the show a lot more interesting. I'm sure a lot more insight would have been fed into that one. Good luck to Charlie kicking off the Cup Light Series season this Friday around 6:30. He said around the time Central Standard Time. We'll make sure to share the links on all social media platforms so you can watch that 83 Cup Light car, hopefully win and to kick off the season. And at that point, if he wins, he's going to say, well, Ramblin' About Racing has been bringing me all the bad luck.
Oh.
And he won't be back on the show. But we hope to have those guys back on next week covering Atlanta. Preston, anything else before we wrap it up here?
Nope, that's it. I got nothing.
All right, buddy. Well, with that being said, thanks again for showing up. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up on this episode of Ramblin' About Racing. Thanks again so much for everybody tuning in, whether you're on your regular podcast platform or on YouTube. Really do appreciate you taking the time to listen to us ramble about racing. I'd like to thank our partners for the show, Devos Outdoor Lighting, Extreme Sim Racing, Fanatics, and Stand Up to Cancer for all they do, not only for Ramblin about racing, but for what they do for Belly Up Sports as well. Make sure to go head over to ramblinaboutracing.com to links to all of our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube for the latest and greatest in the world of auto racing, or to see what's going on in our lives. For Preston Lood, P_Luda, I'm Matt Beamer, nbeamer22. All those are on Twitter. Stay safe, and we'll see you after Atlanta and Saudi Arabia. Have a good week, people.